Story 1. An author. I am now editing my first book. I do not know why this gained so much attention. I did not expect more than a couple of likes. Now, I have more than enough to post in more questionable forums without putting in extra effort. Thank you, everyone. Story 2. I wanted to be a zookeeper and take care of animals, so I earned a degree in zoology. After 2 years in the pharmaceutical industry, I became a stay-at-home mom. I then helped run a candy shop for 18 years, and now I work as a delivery driver. However, I still dream of the zoo. Story 3. I wanted to be a fire truck, not a firefighter, the actual truck. I was not very bright. Now I'm a big, fat ginger, so in a way, I'm large and red and have sort of achieved my goal. Story 4. A film director. I am now a videographer. I worked in local news for 10 years and currently work for a university. Story 5. I never wanted to get married or have children. I envisioned myself as a writer who traveled the world. Now I am married with a child and I'm a stay-at-home mom. I have never been happier in my life. Turns out I just needed to move away from the family I was born into. Story 6. I wanted to be a scientist to create a machine opposite to the one in Honey. I shrunk the kids, so I could enlarge my Barbie clothes and wear them. I am now a personal stylist and costume buyer for the film industry. Story 7. I wanted to be a doctor, and I'm a doctor. I absolutely love it. I thought I would be a mom by now. Story 8. Quarterback for the New England Patriots. I graduated college in 2002. They already had that Tom Brady player. He was fine, I suppose. Story 9. I wanted to be an artist and live in Hawaii. I ended up working as a paralegal in Washington, D.C. But now I am retired and living in rural Pennsylvania. Story 10. A secretary or a flight attendant. The women I saw in those jobs always seemed so put together. Now I am in a role similar to an administrative assistant, and it is not as glamorous as I thought it would be as a child. Story 11. Veterinarian and zoologist. I am an accountant. Someone please help me escape this misery. I really dislike accounting, but I still want to be a zoologist. Story 12. I wanted to be a rock star. Now I work at a warehouse. I'm still a musician and have 2 bands, but it turns out music doesn't pay unless you're super famous. Most other musicians I've met, including those whose records I love, have day jobs too. Story 13. I wanted to be a journalist. I was published in the news with my own articles multiple times by the age of 15 and won a few writing awards and medals. Life became difficult after my father passed away, and poverty worsened. Journalists often receive low pay, so I chose to pursue nursing for more stability. Story 14. I wanted to be a neonatal intensive care unit nurse. My dad is a pediatrician, and I sometimes accompanied him when he needed to make quick hospital visits while running errands. The neonatal intensive care unit nurses always demonstrated a stunning combination of poise, bravery, intelligence, and professionalism. I am a registered dietitian. I own a private practice and strive to embody those same attributes. Story 15. When I was 6, I was in Boy Scouts, and they asked us a question on a local news station. I panicked and said an ice skater because I had just seen one on television. I am a chef now. Story 16. Fighter pilot or race car driver. I flew C-130s and King Airs for the Air Force for 10 years. Now I write software. Story 17. I desperately wanted to be a farmer. My family has been involved in farming for many generations. It is not realistic for someone in the United States to start farming at a scale that can support a family without significant debt or ample assistance from family. My parents did not want me to pursue farming, so no support or guidance for an alternative path was offered. I dropped out of college while pursuing a degree in mechanical engineering, realizing I was not well suited for that field. I spent around 20 years in agricultural-related labor roles near home, which took a toll on my body due to heavy lifting and repetitive tasks by my mid-30s. I eventually became the director of a regional environmental regulatory agency, reaching as high as I can go without a degree. The family farm was divided among the heirs a few years ago, and all that's left are the memories. Story 18. As a child, I wanted to become an astronomer or an astronaut. I became an astroparticle physicist working in information technology. Story 19. I wanted to be a radio presenter. I love music and can talk about it. Now, I am a truck driver listening to music all day. I also love driving. Story 20. I wanted to be the first person to open a Dominican restaurant on the moon. Now, I am a bicoastal, transatlantic father with a heart condition. Story 21. An inventor. It turns out that this isn't a well-defined occupation, but I am a senior-level engineer with a patent in osseointegration. So yay bones. Story 22. When I was little, my grandma took me to see Swan Lake, the ballet. I loved it and wanted to be a ballerina. Then I grew up and my body changed, which affected my balance. So I became an occupational therapist. Story 23. I wanted to own my own construction company. I found my time capsule from 6th grade recently, and that's what I wrote down as my future job. I was a daddy's girl. I went to college to become a music teacher, graduated, and then worked in my husband's family's retail business. Now I have just retired at 55. Story 24. Growing up, I wanted to work for the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. Instead, I am a web developer. Story 25. I wanted to design roller coasters when I grew up. So I studied mechanical engineering. I have come close a few times, but it is a highly competitive industry with many people wanting to enter and few positions available. It also requires significant travel and overtime to meet deadlines. I need something with a better work-life balance at this point in time. Maybe in the future I will pursue it more, but I am happy with the job I have now. I design factory machinery, and I possess many transferable skills if I ever want to try re-entering the theme park industry. Story 26. Forensic scientist. Research assistant. I still get to wear the lab coat, so it is close enough, I guess. It's also less depressing, I imagine. I do not have to go to court either. Story 27. Honestly, I would enjoy a secretary or office job. My grandma worked for the Internal Revenue Service, and I loved visiting her office with all the sounds of typing and phones. She also had an office in her home, and I loved sitting at her desk pretending to type and answer the phone. I work as a receptionist at a dermatology office, and I love it. I just wish the pay and benefits were better. Story 28. I wanted to be a veterinarian or work with animals in some capacity. I am currently an office manager, working with a different kind of environment. Story 29. I wanted to be a marine biologist or a forest ranger. I obtained a degree in history. I am a project manager at a software company and love it. Story 30. Then I wanted to be a park ranger who lived at the beach. Now, I am a freelance writer who lives at the beach. Story 31. I wanted to be a veterinarian. I am now in senior management in real estate, but I still have a soft spot for all creatures. I even sublet space in my apartment to friendly spiders in exchange for free pest control. Story 32. I always wanted to be a doctor, but now I'm a traveling military engineer. I install cameras and passcodes on bunkers around the country. Story 33. I wanted to care for everything and everyone. I am now a nurse and I have rescued several abandoned and poorly treated animals, most of which still live with me. I love it all, and I plan to never stop helping. Story 34. I wanted to be a paid writer. Now I clean houses for a living, but I'm also returning to my first love, writing. I'm still waiting on that first check, but I will get there eventually. Story 35. As a fighter jet pilot, I wanted to fly an F-22 Raptor and perform impressive maneuvers. However, I discovered that you cannot join the United States Air Force to pilot a Raptor unless you are a U.S. citizen. I ended up studying law in my home country and became an intake specialist for legal firms in other countries. Pays the bills, although my diploma feels useless. Story 36. I wanted to be a veterinarian when I grew up. However, I was encouraged to become an engineer after being told that I would be in school forever just to scoop poop. That thought was firmly implanted in my head. Now, I am just an animal-loving engineer. Could be worse. The funny thing is that I attended a university that is renowned for its veterinary college. Story 37. I had that teenage fantasy of playing music professionally and really worked at it. I got good too. After high school, I went to school for information technology. Then I decided I hated it and went to culinary school. 10 years later, after hard work, I'm an executive chef. Story 38. I wanted to be a career woman. Don't ask me what career. That wasn't important. What mattered to me was working in an office, having my desk filled with items, and being very busy. Being busy meant importance, right? Now, I work in a large corporation, in an office with a desk full of items, and I am extremely busy. This is not nearly as glamorous as I imagined. And being busy does not equal importance. Story 39. I am a neurosurgeon with a doctor of medicine in general surgery. However, I am now an engineer in the medical device industry, which is in the same general segment, I suppose. Story 40. A veterinarian, until I got a Saturday job in one and had to clean up dog vomit. Now I work with computers, which is slightly less nauseating. Story 41. I went to college to become either a counselor or a therapist, but I gave up. Now, I provide advice to those who seek it here on Reddit. It's kind of a full circle moment. My actual job is as a night auditor at a hotel. Story 42. I never had anything specific regarding my career. I just wanted a well-paying job and not to be homeless. I have my own place and a good-paying job. Story 43. I wanted to be a math teacher, specifically teaching algebra. I am currently in my mid-30s, still struggling my way through college. I was recently diagnosed with autism. Becoming a math teacher seems unlikely at this point. I would accept any job, as I just want to find work that I am capable of doing. Story 44. I wanted to be a full-time musician and producer. Now I am going to be a lawyer. I prefer music, but I learned that money matters. Story 45. Police officer, currently 29 years old, in the process of getting hired with my state police. I am currently working in commercial flooring. Story 46. I wanted to be a taxi driver because Grover was my favorite Sesame Street character. And he was one. The car is yellow, which is my favorite color, and people hand you a lot of dollars. I am a secretary. No one is giving me anything. Story 47. I am currently seeking a new IT position after being let go from my previous role of 27 years. Story 48. I wanted to be a fairy, and I am studying to become a conservation scientist. Honestly, I made it. Story 49. I wanted to live alone in the north with a pack of dogs. I do have a dog, but only one, and I didn't leave to live in the north. I'm still pretty happy with my life. Story 50. I wanted to be a dentist, and now I am a sales manager in a consumer goods company. Nothing related, and life pushed me toward this path, not intentionally. I still love biology and science so much. Story 51. Like most kids, my interests shifted, but the core remained. Foley artist, stunt performer, nautical archaeologist, and business owner. Currently, I work at a large Fortune 100 company in business relationship management with financial technology platforms. Story 52. I wanted to be a dad, and I'm happily married with a wonderful family. I have a bundle of kids and absolutely love them. I design software to earn a living, but it allows me to pursue my dream job. Story 53. First woman on Mars. I work in aerospace, so while I am still an air breather, it is still pretty cool. Story 54. I wanted to be a fashion designer, but I would have turned out poorly since I'm not very good at following trends or understanding what people like today. Now, I don't have much going on, but I might become a graphic designer for my mom's new company that she just started. Story 55. After watching the movie Freaky Friday and seeing the mom help emotional people, I wanted to be a therapist. I was 9 years old and thought it was so cool. I was even voted next Dr. Phil in middle school. Although I initially pursued business for stability, I later switched careers and became a therapist. I should have trusted my younger self. By the way, Freakier Friday is coming out this year on August 8th. Story 56. I wanted to become a veterinarian, and right now I am in animal care school. I probably won't become a veterinarian, but I might become a veterinary nurse or an ethologist. Story 57. Someone who earns a good income while sitting at a desk all day in a quiet, air-conditioned room, left to my own devices. I made it. Story 58. I wanted to be a police officer, lawyer, or judge. I attended college for construction trades and later became a beauty advisor. Story 59. I wanted to be an archaeologist and then a district attorney. I am currently a legal secretary while completing my paralegal studies. Story 60. I wanted to be a professional wrestler. I still want to try it for fun, but I don't think it will be my job. Unfortunately, I am currently unemployed and searching for a job. Story 61. Space Explorer is now in law enforcement. I do play No Man's Sky, so I consider that close enough. Story 62. I decided after my first day of kindergarten that I was going to become a teacher. This is my 10th year teaching special education. Story 63. I wanted to be a writer. I wanted to write for a living, whether it be fiction or nonfiction, or even reporting. I wrote a lot over the years to hone my craft, and last year, at 28 years old, I started university to pursue a degree in journalism. It's never too late. Story 64. I am a veterinarian assistant and uncertified technician, as well as a surgery coordinator. I have been in this field for almost 8 years. I started in a kennel and worked my way up. Story 65. I am a marine biologist and work in home health care, where elderly individuals appreciate my help. I may not earn as much as I would like, but I feel content compared to many others who have less fulfilling jobs. Story 66. I am now a licensed massage therapist, so I get to help people feel better without the crippling school debt, crazy hours, and stress. I am feeling pretty good about it now that I work for myself. Story 67. Airline pilot. Now I fix offshore wind turbines, getting flown there by helicopter, and I have a pilot's license for leisure flying of planes. Story 68. Graphic designer. Graphic design is like the NBA. There are so few of them, and it is incredibly competitive. I still enjoy doodling. Story 69. The first job I ever remember wanting was to be a dolphin trainer or work with dolphins. What am I now? I am feeling depressed. Story 70. At 18, I worked as an art director in a gallery and museum in France. I studied art history and linguistics. Currently, I am an analyst at an investment bank in Germany. I initially fell into banking as a part-time job to finance my first trip to Europe. Although it was uninteresting, it paid well. I decided to stay in banking and subsequently studied business. Story 71. I wanted to be a music teacher. Now I work in business-to-business sales operations. It's a little soul-crushing, but it certainly pays better. Story 72. I have never been able to choose what I want to do and have ended up as an outside salesman. This path has offered financial stability but not personal career fulfillment. While I would not recommend this career, it has allowed me to purchase a home and start my family, so I cannot fault the outcomes. I do not think I would be at this point if I had followed my passions. Story 73. All I wanted was a happy, loving family. I actually experienced that for 5.5 years before it disappeared. Now I am a single parent. Story 74. It depends on the age. When I was a very young child, I wanted to be a lighthouse when I grew up. Not a lighthouse keeper, but a full lighthouse. As I got a little older, I wanted to be an astrophysicist. Now, I work in a communications role in the government. Story 75. I wanted to work with lions and other big cats. I worked with lions for years as a head zookeeper, became a safari guide, and achieved my dream. Story 76. I want to be a chef when I grow up, but when I reached senior high school, I changed my mind and considered becoming a lawyer. Now I'm a devoted mother. Story 77. An architect. I love residential architecture. However, I do not enjoy math and pursued a career in human resources instead. While I do not dislike human resources, I am considering becoming a home inspector. Story 78. I wanted to be an inventor or a pilot. I am a certified pilot working in 3D engineering and information technology for an aerospace finishing company, so in a way, I have achieved both. However, I wish I had aspired to be an inventor pilot who makes adequate money. Story 79. I wanted to be a taxi driver because Grover was my favorite Sesame Street character and he drove one. The car is yellow, which is my favorite color, and people hand you a lot of money. I am a secretary. No one is giving me anything. Story 80. I wanted to make video games. I am a software engineer for a major video game company. Manifesting my future somehow worked out. Story 81. Air Force and Navy jet pilot had a childhood injury where I was stabbed in the eye with a stick. You need to have 20/20ths uncorrected vision, or at least that was the requirement at the time. Now I'm a welder, which is not what I wanted, but it puts decent food on the table. Story 82. I worked as a chef for a long time, and it was truly amazing to go to work and enjoy it. The creativity, showmanship, and compliments provided a sense of fulfillment. However, it was nothing like what I imagined as a child. The hours were incredibly long, and you often found yourself being the first in and last to leave, depending on the restaurant or business. You spent more time on research, placing orders, doing payroll, and cleaning than you did cooking. Many people had very basic tastes, and their knowledge of food was quite limited. This likely varied by region, but my experience was primarily in the Midwest and South. Now I am disabled. Long hours on my feet, neglecting my health and working through injuries, along with plain bad luck and my own physical conditions, which I only became aware of when they worsened, led to several severe injuries in succession and ultimately resulted in my disability. Story 83. I wanted to be a writer, artist, or teacher. For a living, I apologize to upset individuals for issues that are not my fault. Story 84. I became a music teacher and realized that teaching was less about the music content and more about handling behavior issues and administrative work, grades, and professional development. I am now happily working as an accountant. Story 85. Part-time ballerina and part-time astronaut. Now I work in statistics. My younger self would definitely think my adult self is super lame. Story 86. Architect or neurosurgeon. I am technically an architect of digital products and services, so I am not too far off. Story 87. I wanted to be an environmentalist. It's documented in my 6th grade yearbook. I earned a master's degree in natural resource management and spent 20 years in the field. My career has since taken a different direction, but I'm happy that I was able to achieve my childhood dream. Story 88. Karate master, rock star, and mad scientist. I settled on being an auto mechanic for a while, but I hated it. I am currently unemployed. Story 89. Veterinarian. First, I learned that veterinarians do a lot of math. Then I realized I do not like seeing pets die. So, I studied geography and became an assistant science teacher at a local school. Story 90. A singer. I envision myself on stage in a long red dress surrounded by lights. I'm a software engineer now. Story 91. When I was 16, I decided I wanted to earn $70,000 a year by writing all day. Now, in my 30s, I make $70,000 a year by writing all day. Story 92. I wanted to be a librarian. Now I am a director in a software company. I still long for the Dewey Decimal System. Story 93. I dreamed of being an anonymous middle manager for a bank in the suburbs, but I ended up being an aerodynamics engineer for a Formula One team. Oh no, wait, it's the other way around. Story 94. I wanted to be an orthodontist or at least a general dentist who does some light orthodontics. I am an expanded functions hygienist. I have no regrets. It provides great income with fewer hours and responsibilities. Story 95. I really wanted to be a rock star, as music resonates with me, even across different genres. Currently, I am a forklift operator in a warehouse. I keep my rock star dreams to myself, as I tend to avoid being the center of attention. I suppose I could say I am a dashboard rock star. Story 96. I never knew what I wanted to be, but I always thought I wanted to be some type of performer. Now I am a happily married man with a simple job in carpentry and painting, earning enough to enjoy my life. I love it. Story 97. I wanted to be an Olympic curler or a cook. I am a cook. It's not as nice of a restaurant as I was hoping, but it pays my bills. Story 98. I wanted to be a paleontologist. I was really into Jurassic Park. Now I am a geneticist. Did I mention my interest in Jurassic Park? Story 99. I wanted to be something creative and artistic, and here I am finishing my degree in accounting. Story 100. In no particular order. Astronaut, artist, rock star, youth pastor, criminal defense attorney, teacher. What I became: teacher, side musician. Story 101. A professional wrestler, a businessman, a race car driver, the president, and a teacher. Now, I am none of those things. I work in a casino. Story 102. I had no aspirations as a child, and I am currently working in retail. I would like to be a writer or pursue a similar career, but I struggle to focus on anything. I cannot figure out why. Story 103. I injured my back and discovered I had a spinal condition. I can't pass the physicals to become a firefighter. I even moved to California to attend school for fire science, aspiring to be a state firefighter. I am a manager and run the largest lighting showroom in the country, located in Chicago. I have a background and certifications in project management and service management. In my last job, I managed a biosurveillance program for the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention at an international airport from 2020 to 2023. The program was quite rewarding. Our efforts identified the first two cases of Omicron BA.1.1 and BA.1.2 in the United States. I am skilled at what I do, and I accepted this reality a long time ago. Story 104. I wanted to be a journalist. Specifically, I wanted to have my own opinion column. Instead, I am an information technology director. Story 105. I wanted to be an archaeologist, but now I am an accountant. I have no idea how I ended up here. However, my best friend is an archaeologist, so I guess I made it in a way. Story 106. I have experience in architecture and engineering. Although I have never worked in a firm dedicated to these fields, I started my career fresh out of college in the medical school and hospital facilities division. After that, I transitioned to a corporate role with a Southern Donut company. I then worked in residential development, followed by a few medical casework companies, and I am now back in education. I love my job and plan to retire with my current employer. Story 107. I wanted to be a caterpillar who drove trains. I am now 41 years old, with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and I am a fashion photographer. Story 108. I am a welder now and happy. However, what bothers me is that I never really tried to pursue acting. Statistically, it would have been highly unlikely that I would have made a career out of acting, but I never even attempted it beyond minoring in theater in college. Story 109. I used to be a tour guide when I was younger, but now I am happy working in middle management at a large corporation. Story 110. I wanted to be an elementary school teacher, but I am currently a nanny. I disliked school and did not want to finish college, yet I still get to work with kids. Story 111. I genuinely wanted to be a paleontologist. None of my educational institutions offered a focus on dinosaurs in any way. So, my family focused on my artistic and musical abilities to help me earn scholarships for college, which worked for the first 2 years, but then I couldn't maintain it. I dropped out of college and learned to weld. Now, I work as a quality engineer and inspector on assembled landing gear and other manufactured parts. I should be prouder of where I am. I am blessed and have an amazing life, wife, band, and job. However, the little kid in me who wanted to be a paleontologist or even a teacher often feels disappointed. Story 112. I have always wanted to be a pilot and was close to achieving my dream, but I was scammed. I am trying to get back on track. If there are any aviators here, please feel free to connect with me. Story 113. A novelist or a veterinarian. I am a published but not very successful novelist and a retired scientist. Story 114. A police officer or a race car driver. I worked on cars for about 20 years, and about 5 of those years were spent working on high-performance streetcars and race cars, but that's as close as I got. I am currently a high school English teacher. Story 115. I am now a classical singer, director of an opera company, and a speech therapist specializing in voice. Story 116. I wanted to be a space mercenary or an eccentric and spooky millionaire who leaves her fortune in a will with a series of puzzles and challenges to determine who will survive to secure my fortune. I became spooky and eccentric, but also poor and bad at space travel. Story 117. I wanted to be a wildlife or farm veterinarian, so I directed all my education toward that goal. I graduated from college with a bachelor's degree in veterinary nursing but decided to pause my journey to veterinary school due to financial reasons. Instead, I worked as a head veterinary nurse in Philadelphia for several years until I experienced burnout. 15 years later, I have managed a restaurant, owned a used bookstore, cleaned houses, and recently started a medical billing business. Story 118. An astronaut. I grew too tall for that by the time I was in 6th grade, so my answer changed to happy. It's not going so well, but psychedelics help. Story 119. I was a captain until COVID changed everything. Then I became a circus performer. I never knew I could or even wanted to do that, but I'm super excited. Despite some major challenges, I'm living my best life. Story 120. I wanted to be a Pokemon trainer, but society didn't make that a real career. Now, I guess you could say I'm just enjoying life in the digital space, giving life advice and discussing anime. Story 121. I shifted all over the place. As a child, I wanted to be a fighter pilot because it seemed cool. Leading up to high school, I considered becoming either a hospice nurse or an astrophysicist, leaning more toward the physics side as I progressed. Then in high school, I fell in love with programming and eventually went to college for game programming and design. Now, I'm an animal care technician in biotechnology. It's strange how life works out. Story 122. I wanted to be a powerful leader and control everyone. I'm not there yet, but I'm not giving up on my dreams. Wish me luck. Story 123. I wanted to be a firefighter but ended up working in social work. I do see many firefighters, but I did not become one myself. I got really close to woodland firefighting, but that opportunity has passed and it is not coming back for me. Story 124. I wanted to be a fighter pilot. Top Gun was my favorite movie. Then my vision deteriorated in middle school, so I joined the Army instead of the Navy. I served actively and loved my job, but not the work-life balance. Now I am a reservist and work in logistics in my civilian career. Story 125. Mounted Police Officer. I am a human services program consultant deploying evidence-based prevention services to child protective services agencies. Story 126. Investigative journalist who exposes scandals of large corporations. I am now a lawyer and occasionally assist people in suing large corporations when they experience accidents in stores. At least I am not defending the interests of large corporations. Story 127. I wanted to be successful. Now I feel unsuccessful and am not close to achieving any of my dreams. Story 128. I wanted to be an assassin, a private investigator, and a cartoonist in that order. I am a computer consultant. Story 129. What I wanted to be: graphic designer. What I currently am: senior creative lead, managing 8 graphic designers. Story 130. Veterinarian or superhero. I don't have a job yet, but I am an aspiring veterinarian and author. Technically, a veterinarian is a superhero. Story 131. I obtained a Doctor of Philosophy degree, which taught me that I didn't want to be a physicist. I enjoyed learning physics, but the process of expanding the knowledge base is slow and methodical, except for the exceptionally gifted individuals. Not being one of those individuals and finding the daily work somewhat tedious, I sought a different path. Eventually, I found myself in financial analysis, which was highly quantitative and reasonably fast-paced. It allowed me to explore various aspects of the economy and learn a wide range of information. My colleagues are pleasant, and since I am senior enough, I can mostly avoid difficult clients. The job is well paid, and although the hours are long, it is not unpleasant. Overall, I am content. Story 132. I wanted to be married and would have worked almost any job. Now I am retired and have never been married. Story 133. I wanted to be an ichthyologist and work at Woods Hole. I also wanted to be the female crew member of the Calypso. I feel I am now just taking up space. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.